when I heard that Deena and Liz were breaking out on their own, putting up their own shingle, starting their own consultancy, advisory shop for customer advocacy, customer marketing, I was thrilled for them, first of all, but also I knew I needed to bring them on as a partner of Slap 5, and I needed to get them on stage with our CustomerX Con.
We are so excited to be here. I am personally very excited. I absolutely love this topic. I keep saying that every time we talk about it. Deena and I are always curious about what's coming next in the space. Like Jeff said, we've been in this space for a long time, the advocacy space in particular. And we are always trying to figure out what's next. How does this evolve? Where is it going? How do we stay ahead of the game? So this are some new thoughts, hopefully, for you today as we look at customer engagement programs. All right, so let's dive in. A little bit about Deena and I is that our whole relationship is rooted in advocacy. So Deena and I were introduced through a company because we were part of a advocacy program, and we were like-minded individuals, just like many of you are here today. I've seen so many of you talking about this is amazing. These are our people, and that's how we found each other.
I will say though that we were competitors before we were friends. Because we were both up for some of the same awards, and that is kind of how we kind of caught wind of each other. Like, who is this person? And Liz was saying the same thing. Who is this person? And then we started to realize, hey, wait a second, like we aren't competitors. We are people that are kind of looking for the same thing and share a lot of the same points of view, or share this advocacy mindset when it comes to our work. So we went from competitors to friends, to workmates at Influitive. Liz was even my boss for a while, so that was super fun. And then now here we are as co-founders of the Captivate Collective. As Liz said, like we really eat, sleep, and breathe advocacy. That is how we know each other, and know many of the people who are here this week at CustomerX, either from our master classes or as former clients of ours, or just kind of meeting out in the space over the years. Liz won both awards. Just to be clear, she won both of them.
So, and if we had time, with just this picture, we could do a whole case study on how to use advocacy and engagement programs to really propel the success of your customers. And one of the best things you can do, of course, is introduce them to like-minded people like Jeff is doing here today. So this is exciting for us. All right, so as we dive into today's session, just 2 outcomes that we would love for you to get out of it. 1, feel inspired. That's our goal with everything that we deliver. We just really want people to feel inspired and excited about this space, because we have been excited about this space for years. And then 2, we want you to have some practical ideas of what you can do and how you can move forward. So with that in mind, we'd love when we wrap up this session in the chat for everyone to share one thing that you think you could take from this and apply to your customer engagement programs going forward. So keep that in mind as we go through.
Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so it's always good, like we always like to make sure that we're paying attention to history and taking a look back before we step forward into the great unknown, paying attention to all of the lessons that have come before. And when we started to think about the evolution of advocate marketing, it certainly did not start with me. It didn't start with some of the software providers. It actually started way back in 1993 when Microsoft introduced its first formal advocacy program, followed very shortly thereafter in '94 by Apple. And then as you go forward, in 2005, that's when I had my first kind of advocacy role. 2010 is when we would say like the category was created from kind of like a marketplace perspective. So we started to see vendors in the space that could help scale those earlier efforts. And then now here we are in 2020, and we believe that we are on the cusp of kind of the next big kind of sea change in this space. Along with the evolution of advocacy, when we find ourselves here now at 2010, what we're seeing is that the scope of customer advocacy is really expanded. So for those of you who have taken the time to join us here today, thank you. you will likely know this from being in the trenches where we have been as well, that the outcomes of advocacy are expanding. This isn't just about marketing anymore, for example. That the role of the customer marketer and the responsibility of the customer marketer role has expanded greatly as well. This isn't a nice to have role that kind of sits in the back of the office. The customer marketer now has visibility all the way up to the C-suite and representation in the C-suite, which is really important. And the tool set for advocate marketing has expanded as well. So let's have a look at these three in a little more detail. All right, so marketing and sales, I think most of us in the space could say, yes, we've had some sort of a touch point there, or we've delivered some sort of results, whether that is around customer stories or references, referrals, those kind of typical sales metrics. And when advocate marketing started, if we think about that timeline again, maybe in 93 for sure. If we think about that timeline and think about these two outcomes in particular, the world was a very different place, right? I mean, social media didn't exist. That's one aspect, but the cloud didn't exist as well in business. So the ways that B2B companies sold their products was very different. And so marketing and sales outcomes were very much aligned to that type of on-prem sale model, not really having to worry too much about retention and that type of thing. As we move forward, certainly to the last few years, pardon me, and up until today, the outcomes have now expanded greatly into products. So we saw products start to come in the last 10 years, but now product is really firmly planted as an outcome for advocacy, moving way beyond let's get some beta testers for our product, but let's get our customers in the boat with us right from the get-go. Let's get our customers to tell us what the products are that they need to service them best. And then through to customer success. We love this aspect. We love the customer success aspect because, geez, those CSMs, everything in the kitchen sink is thrown at them these days when it comes to the customer, responsible for everything from happiness through to retention. So no pressure on the customer success professionals. And this is really a place where the modern customer marketer is shining, helping to reduce some of that burden off of the CSMs and scale out some of those repeatable processes. The expanding responsibility, we all know that the responsibility is expanding, and marketers now, let me back up. So sales and marketing have always kind of had this an interesting relationship where there was sometimes a clear line between who was responsible for the deal and who wasn't responsible for the deal. That has changed now. In the best run companies, everyone feels a sense of responsibility for the bottom line of the business, because now we're looking at models of retention in that subscription economy. So for customer success, for the customer marketer, for sales, everyone is working as a cohesive unit, and that greatly expands the responsibility of the marketer, which I think is great. Marketing deserves that place. So what does this mean for you? This is a search I did. I think I did it yesterday, maybe the day before, and just wanted to see for the customer marketing title worldwide, what is this looking like? Because we've all been there. We've all looked for jobs on LinkedIn at some point in time. And it used to be that just finding the word advocate marketing was like pretty much impossible in LinkedIn. You really had to try to like search for reference manager or something along those lines to start to zero in on those opportunities that would be right for you. And look now, like look this week. So customer marketing worldwide, and like 162,000+ hits on customer marketing. I looked through some of them. So some of them aren't exact hits, like let's say junior shopper and customer marketing manager. You think that that one might not be kind of driving serious customer success type outcomes. But if you scroll through, go on LinkedIn, do the search for yourself, the opportunities for you are there, and they are growing. This space is really blowing up, and especially now with the focus being firmly on the customer with the pandemic. And the expanding toolkit. This is both exciting and scary and exhilarating and confusing, because there are so many tools, not just purpose-built customer marketing platform type tools, that we're familiar with, but just the whole ecosystem of tools and all of the nifty ways that these tools can be connected almost at a layperson's level these days with some of the little tools, the little connectors that are out there. And this ecosystem of tools is really what is allowing us to scale. And this is a piece where I would say, if I had to look at Liz and I, where do we thrive and where are we still really learning? This is like, Liz is really good with the tool piece and figuring out how do all of these things fit together to scale. And to also move the data around, which is the key. When Liz and I talk about this, the key is just moving the data around in the right ways to the right places. And this expanding toolkit does that. So try to stay on top of the tools that are out there. That'll be helpful to you in your practice. But still, with all of this expanding scope of outcomes, of responsibility, of the tools, we still see many of the biggest and the best programs, global programs, smaller programs, they still struggle. Why is that?
Yeah, why is that? So Deena and I never do a session without something interactive. And so you'll have little interactive pieces. That means you've got to chime in. So we want to know if you manage a customer engagement program, there are struggles, we know, and you've probably, if you've had a perfect program, amazing, probably just waiting to have a problem or a challenge coming up. But what are those challenges? Why are there challenges in this space with engagement programs and our customers? So hurry up, real speed type in that chat over there and tell us some of your biggest challenges or what you're running into in this space, especially if you've been in this space for a while. So like Nick, I know you've been in this space for a while. I know Kylie's been in this space for a while. So chime in here. Okay, great. Thank you. Lack of executive support. You guys talked about this yesterday, right? Internal buy-in. All right. Refreshing a mature program. Nick, 100%. What's next? What do we do next? They have high expectations. The expectations keep going. How do we get more people in? How do we retain those people, right? Continued engagement over the long term for sure. Budgeting. Budgeting is a really interesting one. We could have a whole other session on budgeting and how to align the spend across to the value. Inactive members, poor data. Guys, this is awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, lots of tools in the stack, but not a overarching strategy among all those tools. Great, amazing. All right, so, there's a lot of these topics we could address today, but what we're going to focus on and what this session is about is, okay, so these problems exist in B2B advocacy and engagement space, and they've really come to the forefront as we've been in those last 5 years, where we've seen tools pop up, we've seen programs become more and more prevalent, and then here we are today, and we're having to deal with some of these big stumbling blocks that come with running a program, especially over time. So what we have found is that there's some really good lessons that we can learn from the B2C space, and that's particularly in loyalty. So loyalty programs, here's a definition so that we're all on the same page. Ongoing campaign, I really like that phrase. And it rewards participants to take action on a regular basis. All right, that's pretty simple. It's a very, very clear what a loyalty program is. And we are all very used to loyalty programs, right? So there's point-based, right? You acquire points, credit cards, there's tiers. I'm gonna get to the next flight status over here. Social media is a new one. If you're an Instagram follower and they start doing all these little campaigns like tag so-and-so and you're gonna get X, Y, and Z, or you're gonna get entered into whatever, those are types of loyalty programs as well. And then there's even paid loyalty programs. Think about Costco or REI. You actually think the value is so good, you're gonna buy into that loyalty program. Now, loyalty programs have been around for a while. They actually think they started in the 1700s. With like coins you would get when you would go to stores, and then you would be able to take those coins back and spend them. And then what we saw was the modern era when airlines really came to the forefront and said, hey, we're going to build these programs. And a big part of those programs not only was the recurring revenue, but also collecting data. That's when collecting data became a huge part of loyalty programs as well. And then think all the way to today and how you've gone from, ooh, a loyalty program to oh, I'm about to buy something. I better go check and see if they have a loyalty program so I can save some money or get something for free. And because everything is digital now, it means not only the big guys like Blockbuster, remember Blockbuster was one of the first to have a loyalty program, not only Blockbuster or whatever, your CVS card, but all the way to the smallest company now has the ability to run loyalty programs. So, so do they work though, right? That's the big question. Now we're gonna assume they work because people have been doing this for forever. I want you to know that Betty Crocker's box top loyalty program started back in 1920s and then ran until I think it was like the early 2000s. They got a lot of longevity out of that. But just take a look at some of these stats today. So 84% of consumers say they're more apt to stick with the brand. That's what we like to see. 1/3 of customers are likely to select one retailer over another based on incentives. And 66% of customers say that it changes their spending behavior. And I believe all of those because I am someone in this ecosystem. So, so we have 4 lessons from the B2C space that we want to talk about today. And they're going to be ease and value, immediate value, and personalization. And, oh, I'm forgetting one, Deena. Well, we'll just go.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
oh, I'm off mute. Clear benefits. Clear benefits.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so we're going to start with that. Ease, clear benefits, immediate value, personalization. Thank you. So let's just start with ease and go through some of these examples. All right, so ease, low barrier entry. And I will say this is something that B2B really struggles with, right? Now think about your loyalty programs, even a credit card there, right? As soon as I sign up for that credit card, I'm part of a loyalty program. I do absolutely nothing. There's nothing I have to do. If I go to CVS, they ask me if I can have their, I will give my phone number and then I immediately start acquiring points. Very low barrier entry. There's seamless activities, right? So when I go to purchase a flight in my Delta app, because I'm a Delta SkyMiles member, I immediately see my membership status, how many more points I need, etc. So it's a very seamless experience for something I was going to do anyway. And then participate where you interact. So whether that's in store, but this is a great example with Sephora here. If you're part of their loyalty program, and let's say you've reached enough points to actually redeem for a gift, when I go to the counter, they'll tell me, hey, you have enough points to redeem for a gift. Would you like to choose one here right now? Which brings a beautiful melding of the online and the in-person and makes it really relevant to where I'm interacting at that moment. Another thing that we can do better at in B2B. All right, moving on to immediate value. I love this first point, no-brainer starter benefit, right? So when I go to check out at Target and they ask me, hey, do you want to sign up for this program so you can get 5% off every purchase at Target forever? And I think, if I'm a big Target spender, it actually doesn't make sense for me to not take 30 seconds and sign up for this program and save some money. That's a no-brainer starter benefit. Welcome rewards. A lot of us do that. Welcome rewards. I think, Deena, like if you click, there's some more pictures. Welcome rewards. This is Hugo Boss. They have a loyalty program. Really, really interesting. There's no points. There's no tiers. There's nothing. You actually just start and they start sending you gifts periodically. Whenever they feel like it, you just get gifts as part of this program. And this is an example of their welcome packet that you get. And then no picture here, but don't start from zero. This is a strategy in loyalty that has been tested as well. You know, can you give them something where they feel like they come in, they know where they want to attain, but they're not starting from zero. So immediate value right from the get-go. All right, this is one B2B really struggles with, right? We have a lot of great value propositions that we put out there, access and networking and whatever, but they're very, very loose. What does that actually mean? What do I actually get? And how much more do I get as I keep investing in this program? And loyalty has done that very, very well. It's a very, very straightforward structure. So of course, this is an example of that. And the hospitality space does this really well. This is Hilton right here on the app. I know exactly how many nights I need to stay if I want to reach the next level. They're telling me exactly how much I need to do. And then you often have exclusivity that comes with those clear benefits. So this is REI, I believe, and you get to have experiences and you get access to different products and whatnot. So very clear and exclusive benefits associated with the program. This is MAC. And they have master classes. If you're part of their loyalty program, you get to have makeup master classes. So very clear, and you know immediately, what am I going to get out of this? And how do I get to the next level to get even more? And last but not least, definitely not least, is personalization. And this is a tricky one for sure. B2C has really leveraged platforms and data to drive personalization in a way that's a lot trickier in B2B. So we're going to go over that as well. But here's DSW, who's really a thought leader in this space of taking data and then personalizing the communications that came from that. So when you're part of their loyalty program, you can see they started sending communications that say, hey, you just need to spend $6 more and you're going to get to the next one. Or look at all this activity that you've done in the last year. And then we've seen a lot of B2C players follow suit by telling you how many trips have you taken on Uber for the year, how many songs have you listened to Spotify, etc. All part of that loyalty strategy. Picking your own rewards is something that actually we have done pretty well in the B2B space. And then Nike does an amazing job of personalizing preferences and the whole aspect of the program. Nike, you come in, and what do you start with? You start by putting in your goals. My personal goals are to lose 10 pounds or to run a 5K or whatever it might be. Then the program is geared toward you reaching your goals, which is quite different than the way we approach B2B programs often, which is you help us achieve our goals and we'll get you some stuff or some access because of that. All right, so let's just do a quick little exercise quiz. All right, so let's look at Starbucks Reward. I picked Starbucks because they're you know, one of the gold star standard, but they also are really prevalent, and because hopefully a lot of you are part of Starbucks Reward, many. So let's go through these points: ease, immediate value, clear benefits, and personalization, and think about how is Starbucks doing this. So first of all, ease, right? You can order from your phone. Every time you order, you just accumulate the stars, and there's nothing really to it. That's it. There's immediate value. So think about immediate value. When you sign up for Starbucks Rewards, it's now an app. It's no longer that gold card. It's now an app. And what that gives you access to is you can immediately start ordering from your mobile phone. Amazing. That's a no-brainer. I want to be able to order from my mobile phone, pay from my mobile phone, whatever it might be. So of course, I'm going to be part of Starbucks Rewards. No-brainer. Clear benefits. Look how clear they've made this. They've actually made it clear in the last couple of years, even though people got really mad at first when they changed it. But 25 stars, boom, this is what you get. 50 stars, boom, that is what you get. It's very, very clear. And then personalization, of course, it's storing a lot of things about you, like, hey, what's my usual order? Where do I usually order it, etc., etc. So we can see how Starbucks exhibits all four of these characteristics or lessons from B2C. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Liz. Passing it over to me to look at how do we now think about combining all of these great aspects of loyalty that drive a ton of engagement. I mean, I wish that we were in a room together. I know, like, dang COVID, but I would say put up your hands, anyone in the room who is not a member of a loyalty program. Hey, but you know what? If you're not a member of any loyalty program, then feel free to raise your hand. I'd love to know why.
Actually,
is there something?
Yeah. All right. So yeah. Actually, I think we missed it. So let's do it really quick, you guys. Sorry about that. I missed sending it. All right. So let's just get a gauge, right? We're pretty familiar with loyalty. It's basically baked into our understanding. We don't have to think about it too hard. Let's see. How many do you guess that you're a part of?
Oh, this is a different poll that's on the screen.
This is not our poll.
That's okay.
So nice.
Just move on.
Yep.
Huh, it was there before. I don't know where it went.
Oh, good.
And that poll. And let's pick the right poll. Let's pick the right poll. My bad. Here we go. How many loyalty programs are you part of? And whoa, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is what I suspected. And you honestly probably are more than you even know, because they're doing it to you so well that it's painless. It's painless and it's expected. All right. That's sorry, we're going to end it because we have to keep going, but this was a pretty good sampling. So here's just a sampling of what we have. Look at that. I would have loved to see if there was anyone who had 0, like Deena said. Is anyone? Totally not. I don't even know if it's possible anymore. All right, so sorry. There we go.
Thank you. Do I have to close this? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So combining these lessons, all of the goodness of loyalty, the goodness of advocacy, what could possibly go wrong? Okay, so there's another little poll popped up here. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, so loyalty and advocacy, just to, Liz and I we will take responsibility for some earlier thinking in our careers, that loyalty and advocacy are very different. And in the world of advocacy, some of those key traits of loyalty just weren't welcome. And, I've had many conversations over the years saying, like, no, like, loyalty is a very different thing. It doesn't have a place in my practice. My practice is about relationship and deepening that relationship, et cetera, et cetera. So here are the ways that loyalty and advocacy are very different. So advocacy is, and I'll start there because most of us are practitioners in that space. So it's higher touch, relationship first, it drives pipeline, builds connections between customers and employees and partners, drives more than just revenue. So it has a broad scope of outcomes and offers diverse reasons for participating. So not just kind of a points type of program to access higher status. And then on the loyalty side, in not high touch, loyalty is actually built for low touch, totally built for scale, which they do incredibly well. Now on the B2B side, we need that now. We need to kind of like now cherry pick some of these things and pull them over to our side. We're being asked to build for scale. We're being asked to be more low touch. Relationship first is great, but it takes a lot of manpower and is hard to scale. So having some sort of rewards first aspect for loyalty is something else, again, that we can look at those clear benefits. So reframing what we think of as rewards. With loyalty, the key differentiator when Liz and I were putting this together is really about loyalty is looking to existing business to build that lifetime value. So you are a customer and you're going to be a customer for life now and continue to spend with that company, continue to do whatever it is that you do with that company. Advocacy has been focused on new business tradition, primarily, and we see that changing now. Now we're being asked to focus on the LTV of our customers in this type of subscription economy. And then just going on down the list. So for loyalty, another big differentiator has been the reasons to participate. And that's one that we're still kind of, we can borrow a little bit there from loyalty, but advocacy will always be a bit more diverse as a standalone program. What we'll get to is that maybe we're not thinking about advocacy as kind of its own standalone entity anymore. Moving right along. Oh, Liz, I'm going to throw it over to you.
I love this slide. If you follow me on LinkedIn, which if you don't, please do connect with me. Love to connect with marketers. But I shared this the other day because I absolutely love what it's showing, which is, yes, they are different, but they are highly connected. Why is that? I've been thinking about this for a long time as the debate goes on about where do advocacy programs live? Always, it used to be marketing, but like Deena said, with that expanding scope, it's become a real conversation about, well, should it be in customer success? But why are people saying that? Well, because there's a natural pathway here for customers. You've got to make customers successful before they become loyal. And then the outcome is advocacy. So what we see a lot of people doing is trying to get from, hey, you bought my product, woo, and now you're my advocate, woo. And that's just not the truth, right? We call them advocates, but they're not really advocates. That's not the truth. They might be active and maybe we're getting to a point of them being loyal. But that's a slightly different thing. Both are valuable, but one is needed before the other. So, so not the same. We realize there's some great differences between B2B and B2C, particularly in loyalty and advocacy, but there is great opportunity for them to align and come together.
I would say it's few and far between now for the clients that we work with and the practitioners that we interact with to come across people who are planning to launch an exclusive advocacy program. When we meet with our clients and say, who is the audience for your program? They just say, everyone, the entire customer base. Why wouldn't we have everyone in there at different stages of their journey with us?
Yeah, and then these arrows on the sides, you guys, just to explain those for a second, right? There's revenue, and that's what Deena said, that loyalty is focused on. Its sole focus is really revenue. Increase the amount of revenue from a single customer. However, we have value on the side, and that's what we've been focused on with advocacy, right? We have customers who are doing amazing things for us, which are worth a great deal of money to the organization. What we're not doing is looking at both of those together. They're almost being kept separate in our B2B advocacy programs. So how do we bring them together? Let's dive in. So here on this next slide, we talked about, first Deena went over what are the differences. Okay, we know what the differences are, but what can we do to pull some of that goodness, like Deena said, from loyalty down into the B2B space? So this is where you're really going to put on your thinking hats and think about, okay, what's that one thing I might be able to do with my program as we keep going with this? So how can we bring this down? So customers are viewed, engaged as individuals and scales in automated ways. There's got to be a combo. We've seen a lot of people struggle because they launch a program and then they want to give an amazing experience. I did this. I thought it was beautiful, and it is. It's 100% beautiful, but we're not scaling the personalization, the immediate value, the clear benefits to the entire program or to that entire engagement program. We need to take a bigger look at the customer journey. Loyalty is focused a lot on the journey, and it's really a buyer's journey. We have the opportunity to focus on a very holistic journey, not only their buying journey, but their advocacy journey, their engagement journey, their success journey, and bringing that all together. It's a very complex but really exciting space. And then we need to drive social amplification, brand awareness, content development, and pipeline. That's something that we're very focused on. That, you know, B2C, not so much, really. They're really focused on that revenue side right now. All right. So if we keep going here, we're going to put it together now.
Okay, so here we go. So we're adding it all up, and math is typically not my strong suit, but in this space, I think that Liz and I have really cracked the code on something that is going to help us take our advocate marketing efforts even further inside the businesses that we're in and that you're in. So we're going to hammer home these 4 big points. And as we go through these 4 big points, think about what you're doing in your programs, whatever your program looks like. Your program might just be on a spreadsheet and using email or marketing automation, or you could have a fully fledged platform. Think about what you can do. Which of these 4 can you cherry pick from to start to move your program towards higher and longer term engagement. So making it easier to participate. We're going to show you some examples here. And we believe that advocacy happens everywhere. And that's just a fact. It's not just our belief system. Advocacy does happen everywhere. That's the tricky part when our executives come to us and say, what's the value of what you're doing? We can only measure the value of what is in our scope, what we can see, what we can measure, what we can actually touch. What we can't touch or what we can't measure as easily as is all of that advocacy that is happening elsewhere. Making it easier to participate with a low barrier engagement strategy is one way that we believe you can amp up your efforts. And a low barrier engagement strategy could be that you have an advocacy program, you have a platform and you're engaging folks there, but you're not necessarily thinking in a multi-channel sense. You're not running, for example, a biannual campaign that's driving some certain outcomes, and you're doing that outside of your platform. So a low barrier engagement strategy, meet people where they're at and allow them to plug into your efforts, because at the end of the day, what we're looking to do is drive outcomes for our bosses, for our companies. Making it easy for people to plug into those opportunities is key. The clear benefits, I love this one. We've worked with a lot of companies, and we've worked at a number of companies where you've got some pretty decent budget to do good things with benefits, but the benefits just aren't well structured in a way that your members can really know what's in it for them if they participate in the program. When we started out here today, Nick had said that, I believe it was Nick, that one of his challenges is refreshing a mature program. And I think that the clear benefits is one of the hardest things to do when you're restructuring or refreshing a mature program. Because when we started, like, you know, even if you started up a program, you know, maybe in, you know, 3 to 5 years ago, it was like, okay, these are our advocates and this is what we offer, without really thinking about what are those longer term journeys. We weren't necessarily thinking past the first year or the first 2 years, and how are we going to pull people along for a longer term. So clear benefits. Members know what they need to do to get to get what it is that they want to get out of the program. Eliminating that gray program structure, like I'm an advocate, I'm not too sure what that means or where I'm going or why that person seems to get more opportunities than me, but I'm an advocate. And then aligning your program spend, which are the benefits, to real outcomes that are meaningful for your business. We have a little case study here from a client that we worked with who, Nick, did refresh a more mature advocacy program, taking into account some of these lessons. And I've blanked out their name, but nonetheless, you can still get the gist of how they restructured their program. So they had a typical kind of 4-level program using a platform with all of the bells and whistles. And their levels were called kind of interesting things like hero and this, that, and the other. And they changed it to like really like, this is airline kind of speak, right? This is an airline look. You've got bronze through platinum. If we look down the left side, this is what is important to the business. So these are the outcomes that they're looking to drive with the program. And then if we start to look across on the horizontal, if you want to move up to silver, you have to do 3 of those lines the right number of times. And then for gold, you have to do 5. And for platinum, you have to do 6. What's nice about this layout is you're offering up kind of that menu to your advocate, so that someone who likes to attend professional development stuff, they can take that pathway to move through the program. Or someone who is, you know, likes to provide feedback, they can find that avenue to move through the program as well. So it differentiates that experience, but allows people that view, that visibility into what they need to do to get to where they want to go. And this is the hook. This is how they're pulled along. So the clear benefits, this program offers some immediate benefits as well. So doubling down there. So at bronze, everyone that comes in, this is what they get access to, and that's great. But right out of the gate, they see what is waiting for them at silver, at gold, at platinum. And they've really kind of moneyed up around those levels because they see that as the hook to pull people along. So if you're sitting in the program and you're at gold and you've attained a couple of these lines, or maybe 4 of them, maybe you're if you do that one referral in the right time frame, you can move up to platinum and then get access to this list of benefits. That could be quite compelling. And of course, that one qualified business referral is quite a compelling story for you to bring back into the business. So that's just an example of clear benefits. Immediate value. What do they really get access to? Have a look at your value statements, at your value proposition. Is what you're saying really what they can get in your program in their first 6 months or first year? Are you baking in some sort of surprise and delight? A lot of people do a good job with this one. Advocacy, I think, is pretty dialed in on the immediate value because it's a proven hook to get people in. Here's just a quick example of immediate value from VMware. So at their big conference, you could sign up to be an advocate. And why would you want to do that at the conference? You've got a lot of other things to do. That's because VM offered immediate value that you could come back to the booth each day and get a gift that only the advocates could get. The personalization, this is the hard one, right? This is the tools. This is the stuff that is like quite dizzying for me, figuring out how to plug in these tools together, what data to pull from what tool into the other. But it doesn't have to be that complex of a picture. And I'll show you an example here. So this is a software company. And when people join the program, they complete a survey. That survey data is then funneled into the CRM. So that's a really easy, pretty typical flow. Now that data point that is sitting in the CRM starts to personalize the content and opportunities that are going out to that person. So this is just a really simple flow of getting that data. Exactly what is it that you need to know about these people to be able to personalize that content that goes out to them. Of course, you have to have a follow-through plan, right? You have to have content down each of these pillars or opportunities down each of these pillars. But if you were thinking strategically about a program, that certainly is a doable example of personalization.
All right. So good lessons, our 4 lessons from B2C to apply to B2B programs and really get your mind thinking. A lot of B2B programs that we're looking at today and seeing as we work with clients or past clients, these are areas of struggle for them. They haven't really thought through these strategies and this goodness they can take from something that's been working for years and years and years. However, we want to take it one step further where we think like B2C and B2B are falling a little bit short. So we're going to talk about journey alignment to add one more layer to this conversation. And again, something I'm really passionate about. So excited to share this real quickly with you. So we have the customer journey, right? Very typical. They go through the signing and the implementation. They go through training. Maybe they join a community, and then you, of course, want them to start adopting. You want them to review how successful they've been, and then you want them to sign, renew, and do it all over again. Okay, so that's our typical customer journey. But then separately on the side, we have this other journey going on. We have this advocacy journey going on. And sometimes it's really happening in quite a silo. It's maybe happening in a very formal program that really one team has access to, and really nobody else in the company knows exactly what's going on in this program, unless the customer marketer shares, oh, so-and-so did X, Y, and Z. So you have another journey happening in there. I come in, I get interested. Maybe you surprise and delight me. So I actually want to spend more time in here. Maybe I start doing my first acts of advocacy. I refer friends. I start doing higher level, higher value acts. And then maybe I drop off and you've got to re-engage me, right? So there's this whole other journey that's happening. So my beef with this is that they are so siloed, and that we're not thinking of B2B advocacy and engagement by bringing in both sides of the house. So if I'm going to award or reward or celebrate someone who just did a speaking event for me, why am I not also celebrating the customers who just renewed for a third year in a row? You know, am I treating little Joe Schmo who wrote a review the same way as Sally over here who has spent a billion versus, you know, 10,000? Are they getting the exact same experience inside of your program? Why? There is got to be more strategy around what you're trying to drive. And if loyalty is as valuable, specifically today, as we have been talking about, that additional loyalty is just as valuable as generating that new business, we really want to, when we look at our customers and engaging them, we want to celebrate both journeys, and we want to start to bring them together. So not a lot of people doing this, but I found someone who's doing this, excited. But this is a B2C company. It's a makeup company, as you can see, probably teens. I don't know. Are their selling point? Don't know them, but Team Tarte. But here's what they're doing wonderfully. They are starting to bring all of this together. So if we go to the next slide, we can see that they have a lot going on here, right? Loyalty, advocacy, and the customer journey. So loyalty, you get rewarded for signing up, buying more stuff. You get some typical loyalty things like a birthday gift, member only sales, access, whatever. And then you have advocacy. They actually ask their people and reward their people to write a review, do quizzes, refer other people, and you get to get more points and also get the benefits that you would like. But they're also taking it one step further, and they're talking about the customer journey. They get points for logging in. They get points for opening emails, asking questions about new products, going to web pages and reading content, etc. And their anniversary gift, which is part of their journey, like you've been here for a year or 2 or 3. So here we have a really kind of nice, neat example of loyalty, advocacy, and aligning those things with the customer journey. And that's really where I think a lot of the goodness can happen. All right.
I would say, just before we move off of this slide, It's probably the most boring looking slide in the whole deck, but if I were to take one slide out of this deck and say, hey, I actually think I can build a whole plan just around these bullet points, this is the one. I mean, you could just take these bullet points and say, okay, for the next fiscal year of my program, I'm going to try to infuse all 3 of these columns into my program. And they're all doable with kind of the tools that we have at our disposal, and then scaling the budget. But I love, although this slide is like, it's pretty sparse, it's just black and white, there's such a powerful opportunity to take this in particular and move it into your own practice. Okay.
All right, so let's keep talking. So we said at the very beginning, all right, we were going to jump into just those 4 lessons of B2C: ease, clear benefits, immediate value, personalization. Wanted to think about what you're doing with your own programs. If you don't have a program, that's fine, what you might want to do with your program. But especially if you have a program, just share in the chat, what's one thing you think that from thinking about this and really kind of stretching where we might be going with B2B advocacy and engagement, what's one next step for you? What's one next step? So go ahead and start putting those in the chat. We'll keep talking, but you guys keep adding them in, and then we'll call some out as they come in. But while you guys are doing that, you know, a little bit about us is, if you want to learn more best practices and hear more, we really want to keep this conversation going. We love this topic, but we really want to grow it and to understand it and to evolve it. So if you want to reach out to Deena or I on LinkedIn and just tell us, like, what are your thoughts about this topic? Where do you think you're going or your organization is going? Please go ahead and link in with us and message us and tell us what your thoughts are. Or if you would like to follow best practices, this link right here, sorry, we should have grabbed it and put it in the chat. We will do that. Is like just our newsletter. So if you want to follow to, you know, keep that conversation going from a best practice thought as well. All right. So we have a couple here. Come on, guys, we need some more. So keep going. But get our customers to complete a survey on the community. Yeah, 100%. Just understanding what's the personalization maybe that needs to come from that. What would be useful and relevant to them in that program. Nick already had said he was really interested in the clear benefits journeys for customers. And then provide the loyalty program experience. Yeah, Louise, for sure. And what does that mean to you would be my next question. What is that loyalty program experience with your advocates? Again, I think there's some really big opportunity here, and it's just putting your head to the grinder and seeing what you got. Figure out global rewards and anniversary recognition. Sure, yeah, some easy low-hanging fruit is, are you celebrating advocates inside of your program, not just for their advocacy journey, but for their journey with you as a customer? Are you really calling that out and celebrating it? Are you really just focusing on customers who do things for you rather than show their advocacy by being loyal customers to your organization? All right, any closing thoughts, Deena? And you guys can keep those coming, but
yeah, my closing thought. So we have our little boilerplate blurb here about what Captivate Collective is about, but really we were so intentional when we named our new business Captivate Collective, because we have always been so passionate about the idea of tribe in this space, and about developing kind of a think tank mentality around this practice. Because this practice can drive hardcore outcomes for businesses if those businesses allow it, and if we can bring that strategy forward inside those organizations. So the collective really for us is meaningful. And as Liz said, reach out if you want to continue the conversation. Subscribe to that newsletter, because that's kind of our easiest way to stay in touch with you. We're not a spammy type of company. Our newsletter really is about getting more best practices going out, and also the conversation coming back in. So do hook up with us. That's what we're all about. That's why we're the Captivate Collective. And it was great to be here today and see a lot of familiar names here in the chat. I can't see your faces on the screen, but I can see you in the chat. So for those of you who we've crossed paths with before, thank you for joining us yet again. And for those who we've crossed paths for the first time today, it's been a real pleasure. And I know that we will cross paths again soon.
Thank you guys. Great to have done this. Loved it.
All right, and thank you, Liz and Deena. So many great, useful